those older sets. Very upsetting.
Costs a lot too.
It does. It does. Anyway, moving on. Forget about the set. Vici Gaming vs Newbee, the first game of the night. Vici, I mean, you mentioned it. They've been finishing games fast, but Newbee's the one with the fast draft lineup this time around. And let's see if Newbee can really put a pace on the side of Vici Gaming. It's not as though the Lycan TA needs to necessarily finish the game in the mid game. Like, you can go late with these heroes. It is possible, and you do have the wrap potential, right? But generally speaking, you probably don't want to have to do that up against the Jug Park.
Yeah, look, even VG kind of has a bit of a timing here. Like, the Juggernaut, he's great in the late game, but I think these heroes really are geared towards the mid game, and we'll see how far they can go.
Well, they're going now. YG, take a bit of harassment, and oh, we have a quick pause. Not really sure what all these dots are about, but if somebody puts a dot down, John, you've got to give a dot back. You can't just allow them to have the...
Yeah, look at that. PYW with fancy dots.
Ooh. Oh, AQ joins in as well. Yeah. And all right, we got the go-ahead. Fantastic. By the way, John, odds are on the screen. And for the third day in a row, Newbee is the underdog in their series, which every single time this has happened, they've proven the odds wrong. We'll see if that trend keeps up. Outpost going to be taken back DY. That's double balls there from Wizard. You've got to be careful about how much damage you take from those. And YG is really going to give to DY as Faith has Battery Assault and tries to get in range. That tier 2, is it going to be enough to dissuade Faith? It is not. The first blood will go into the way of Newbee, and Faith says, screw it, I'll just take the death. I don't want to go back to the lane like this. And well, there you have it. A great start for the Dire side already.
Definitely. Just securing that first blood is really going to help the cause. At the very least, you get a little bit more EXP on that. Clock and Phoenix, these are two heroes that, of course, require a lot of EXP and can get very starved in that early game. So just grabbing that for themselves is a nice little boon. Helps them keep control on that outpost as well. And, you know, you start to looking at the lanes, it's actually going to be a mid Underlord up against that TA. And I guess that does make sense, right? You've got the Firestorm to clear out the refraction charges. You can kind of tank through TA's right clicks. So, hey, perhaps Ori can pull ahead here, or at least draw even up against that TA.
Even the trophy aura, right? It does make it pretty frustrating to get last hits. Underlord, one of those heroes that really does deny off creeps very, very effectively in the laning stage, especially in a 1v1 situation. Ori, though, is taking a fair bit of damage.
Yeah, but he's pumping it right back to AQ. I love seeing this item build from Ori. Actually went with 2 rings of protection just to get himself safer in trading.
AQ. Force the Fairy Fire up. Ori just threatening. He's like, do you really want to come back this way? AQ, you're going to have to run around. But he doesn't want to lose that XP that's coming. Ori gives him another strike. Firestorm, AQ, you can't go that way, mate. You got to run around. Come on now. But Ori, he gets 2 denies off in that time frame. It's a great play from this Underlord, and AQ, he doesn't have regen.
Yeah, this is not the matchup Newbee wanted. They were looking for that puck down mid to face off against their TA. And again, the flexibility Vici does have allows them to actually get this lane off. And Ori is just having a spectacular time, shutting down AQ. 7-8 up against the TA's 3-3. A full wave, basically, behind on that TA. Not a good sign for Newbee.
Certainly isn't. We'll have a look at the other lanes while that's going on. Top lane. Mugi on the Lycan, going to be up against Yang on that puck, and PYW there on the Nyx Assassin. Of course, you will see YG on the Phoenix, making sure his Lycan is okay. Down at that bot lane, we do see Faith on the clock. Wizard there on the Beastmaster. They're up against Eurus and DY on the Jug and Shadow Demon. And that's a pretty rough lane as well for VG, right? Like, up against that Beastmaster, the Jug does not enjoy going up against the double balls. Especially once he gets them at higher levels.
Yeah, it's not the easiest time for the Juggernaut. At the same time, you know, it takes a lot of effort to really, truly shut him down here, and Eurus is still having a fairly decent time up against that Beast. 13-5 up against a 10-1. Not too bad. it is going to be a bit harder for his supports, though. Like, DY is going to burn through his mana to just try to slow down, at the very least, Fate from soaking too much in this lane.
Vici's come prepared. Got a clarity, got 2 mangoes, ready to go. Having a look down mid again. Look at Ori with those denies, John. 11 denies on that Underlord. 14 last hits. Really starting to get ahead of AQ, but I mean, those denies are really going to affect AQ quite a lot. Like, TA kind of requires snowballing. Otherwise, it's a bit of a rough game for a TA, and with all these denies, you're automatically going to be left behind in terms of levels and gold.
Yeah, it's going to be rough for AQ. At the very least, the jungle is going to be open for him. I don't really see anyone else jungling that hard. Beastmaster's not nearly losing lane enough to really justify that, although he is being jumped just a bit, but should be fine overall. Still, AQ should have free reign of that free farm later on, but this laning phase, early level 6, probably not going to be the best timing for him.
Bot lane, Eurus, he's been caught in the cogs of Faith. Battery Assault is also going on, but he spanned through it. DY still trying to chase, but Eurus, he will actually be able to get out. The Faith wasn't really able to get in close for that Battery Assault. Meanwhile, top lane, PYW goes down on the Nyx Assassin. YG going to get fairly low on the Phoenix, but he will be able to walk out.
Yeah, that's a nice little pickup for a newbie. Again, every single kill will help something like the Phoenix, because it does require a lot of EXP, and they are
AQ?
actually distributing quite nice.
Thought AQ may have been dead there. He got Pit of Malice. He did have the Refraction available, and now Ori's the one to fall quite low, but it looks like PYW is going to bring him his bottle, and does also give him a salve. What a nice support.
Oh, definitely. Just keeping this Underlord in lane is going to hurt AQ so much more. He's like a level behind. Like, he's going to hit 5, but Ori is going to hit 6 in just a bit. Just about 1/4 away from hitting 6, and his damage is just going to shoot that much higher. AQ going to really have to dip out later on to play catch-up here.
And Ori going to out-level him by 1 at least in just a moment. Well, those 5-minute boundaries spawning up, and Newbee and Vici fighting over them. In fact, PYW going to get jumped on here by YG. Fire Spirit's flying out. Those are level 2, so PYW should fall, and does. We've seen that over and over again from YG. He tends to make that happen a lot, though. Bot lane, DY also going to get pretty low. Newbee is able to pick up another kill across the map.
Yeah, they're definitely starting to pick up that pace. It's really something they need. Again, their supports are a tad bit greedier than VG's, so they need to find these kills, need to assert their presence to get some EXP going for themselves, and they have certainly kicked up that pace there. I am surprised the Nyx didn't even try expending that Impale to save himself. I guess in the end it wouldn't have made too much sense without any boots to get him ahead, so that does make him a bit more of a sitting duck when you decide to jump on him.
Yeah, right. Look at YG. This is a classic mid-Phoenix rotation. Places a sentry ward down just to make sure they can't scout him out and see what he can get done. In fact, it looks like he's not even going to bother, as AQ doesn't really have much mana. He's missing half his HP. Even then, like, Ori's sitting at already over 1k HP anyway, so chances are they're probably not going to have the damage to kill him off. He'll just happily go back and farm some jungle creeps. YG now going to run into PYW again. PYW going to get Icarus dived on. He is a Spike Carapace. Does miss one Fire Spirit and does miss a second. Some nice side steps from the Nyx, and that will actually save his life.
Yeah, it's going to be harder to kill the Nyx now, since PYW does have his boots. So he is going to be moving a bit faster, and it's not going to be as easy to catch him into his spirits. So a bit of a window kind of lost there still. Top lane, we haven't looked at Yang in a while. He's at level 6 as well in the puck. And he's got that Dream Coil up and running, so whenever they want, they could get a big fight going here.
Well, you'd imagine with the Veil and the level 6 up on the
Eurus,
puck,
though?
they'd make the play, though. Bot lane, Eurus does go down to Wizard. It looks like the Roar was committed for that, and now Faith thinking about diving underneath the T1, and does. Although here come the rotations, there's that puck. Yang, Disruption is going to be there to set up, and they won't even need the Dream Coil here, I don't believe, as Faith does throw the cogs out, but it will be to no avail. Yang and DY do split the gold and pick up the kill.
Yeah, they did have to expend the roar there to get that initial kill. I think you're going to be happy with a trade if you're Newbee. You're slowing this Juggernaut down. Eurus, he's already not really had the best free farm lane for himself, is working towards a Battle Fury as well. So every single kill you get in this Jug is going to slow down the timing of that item, which slows down when he does come online and fight. Like, once you have that Battle Fury, you're not going to be fighting. You're still going to be farming up.
Very true, and it seems as though Eurus, he, oh, never mind that, bot lane, Yang, Dreamcore flies out, but there was a Lycan around. He just breaks the leash himself. They were looking for the Shadow Demon follow-up, but they don't quite find him. Still, this is going to end up being a tier 1 tower, it seems, anyway.
Oh yeah, I mean, you've got that Dominator up and running on Mugi. He's just going to be cutting that wave. You've got the Beastmaster around as well. Should be a fairly straightforward push. You have DY watching that Lycan, but not much a level 4 Shadow Demon can do all alone. PYW's here, though.
He is.
Oh.
Hell, gonna be there. Rotations from Yang. Do you have another Dream Coil? Not quite. 25 seconds away for that. Now the Roar comes out. Wizard just gonna claim a very easy kill on the Shadow Demon. Vici Gaming, I mean, they really want to defend that T1 and slow Newbee down, but I don't know if you can. They're going to rotate more heroes in. Impel doesn't connect. Now the Cog's Faith, he holds in the Nyx Assassin. PYW understands he's going to die, but Ori now going to rotate on the Underlord, and that may be enough to dissuade the side of Newbee and force them to back off. And so ultimately, they will stop this T1 push in the end. In fact, they may find Faith. And yeah, Dream Call just in case. They don't want to risk anything. They want to take the kill.
Oh yeah, I mean, that's fair enough, right? At the very least, they find that sort of a consolation prize in the clock. Kind of interesting that Fate held on to his hookshot for so long. He had it up and running. He could have hooked a creep camp, save himself. Still decided to hold out in that cooldown and gets punished for it. Although, the chase is not done. Yang, being chased by AQ.
Yeah,
okay.
He is. DY shows himself, and that'll be enough to force AQ back. Bot lane, however, Ori gonna have to use the Reality Rift, and does he get out of it? He does. So the stick charges were enough in the end to keep him up, and Mugi will actually rotate back down bot. He has not had enough yet. He really wants that T1, and he's not leaving till he gets it.
They've got the shapeshift back and up and running again, so they can just shove that tier 1 in very easily. They've got a big army as well. Should be a straightforward push this time around.
It will be. Nobody going to be there to defend. The thing is, Vici Gaming, they already managed to find the top tier 1 thanks to their Jug. So, I mean, at that point, once you've got the opposing tier 1, I guess you don't really care about losing your own. So, yeah. Mid lane, they found Faith. It's kind of hanging around on the wrong side of the river. Yang will be able to pick up the kill with the Dream Coil.
Fate. He's just trying to distract them every single time. I mean, he hasn't been joining his team. He still has that hook shot. You'd expect Newbee to play a bit more aggressively now that they have level 6 in their Phoenix as well. They are just sort of taking their time. I think that's down to the fact that they are waiting for AQ to catch up, right? Like, he's farmed back up to number 2 net worth, which is a really good spot considering that rough start. But they still need items on that hero, and I don't know if they're confident enough to take fights without their Templar Assassin, for the most part.
She can take them with the Blink, right? But we have seen previously, like, AQ does prefer to get the Blink Deso before he makes a move. Like, it just seems like he won't move out of that mid lane until both of those items are up. But bot lane, Wizard, setting up for another tier 2, and there's a lot of heroes here from Newbee. The Lycan smoked up, ready to go. Shapeshift is available. Now the hook comes in. Faith, he didn't connect the hook on the Underlord, so Ori gets pushed back by the Cogs. And Faith, he will survive, but he will take a lot of damage on the way out. And now Yang, going to rotate in on the puck, and he does have Dream Coil available. They won't bother chasing, but that will stop the tier 2 push.
Yeah, and I think that's going to be good enough for VG. They do hold out in the push. I'm not sure if they were aware that the shapeshift was expended for Mugi, so that's another cooldown down for Newbee as well. That is just going to slow down the pace for them a bit longer. It's going to give VG some time to play catch-up. They have given Eurus a lot of free farm. He's kind of close to his Battle Fury, so once that's up and running, the farm will escalate on our Jug.
It will. Have it up pretty soon. Also finds a nice a broom handle for himself, which always helps the cause when you're farming. So they are sticking around bot for Newbee, so they are really persistent with these towers going down. Or hoping to anyway. So far it's only one. I say that, Mugi may have decided he'd rather finish off the Necro 3 book before he goes any further. He's got the Necro 1, but I guess after a couple failed attempts, it's not really worth continuing to waste your time there. And VG have smoked up. PYW not really able to find anybody, but with that Vendetta, he's going to run mid. No sentry wards placed down to really scout this out. Faith, Rocket Flare definitely won't do that work. T1 mid being pushed in, but they are being very hesitant, just throwing the units in, and now Firestorm to try and clear them out. They will be able to get multiple. For VG, right, like, as long as they're defending these towers, they don't really care about any team fights. They're more than happy to just drag this out. For sure. Like, they're in a pretty decent spot. They're farming up on their jug. They're not too far behind in terms of net worth. It's a 4K deficit, but when you look at the individual heroes, the gaps aren't too big that VG is going to be all too worried, I think, overall. The main difference is on the supports. It does look like the outlier is YZ's Phoenix, who has managed to get a considerable amount of gold compared to the other sports. But beyond that, VG is still on a pretty decent pace. With her juggle, though, Yang. Dream. Oh, nice phase shift on that last attack. And AQ doesn't have the blink available. It's on cooldown and he won't bother. And it's a very nice play from Yang. Yeah, it was a bit close, but does waste some time from TA and manages to shove out that lane and keep himself safe. So overall, going to be fairly happy with that, as you know, we continue to go for a bit of a slower pace. You know, you see that Newbee team, 2 cores in the jungle just farming up. VG kind of the same story. Mainly Eurus really just farming up. Everyone else having some laning presence, but mid lane. AQ going for a dive onto PYW. Meanwhile, bot YG setting up to try and jump on Ori. Does reveal himself with those fire spirits, so Ori just actually jukes and jives them out. Faith already set up, looking for a hookshot attempt. This time, hoping not to miss on Ori. Does need to get that that cogs trap off. And no, never mind. They're going to rotate mid now, but the Dream Call is there on AQ. So AQ trying to bait them in here. And here comes the phase shift from Faith. Gets a hookshot straight onto that Underlord. AQ, though, has already lost his life. Can they actually find anybody to kill now? Yang, he gets a haste screw. And so nobody dies on the side of VG Gaming. And to make matters worse for Newbee, they lost 2. Yeah, that's a pretty big misstep from Newbee. AQ was just standing there thinking that he had pretty free reign, but there was a sentry to spot him out, and that caused all the difference there. They managed to get Eurus in. He dropped the Omni Slash. The AQ was pretty isolated, so there's nothing else to bounce to, and he just drops fast, giving our Jug a nice bit of AoE gold on top of that. And VG does manage to take that tier 1 tower. So Newbee have pretty much given VG a good amount to swing back in. Take a look at that net worth. Our Jug is now at number 3. Closing that gap out with a Lycan just a bit more, and that's not the best of spots to be in. Lycan, he likes playing ahead. You know, he likes being ahead. They do finish up the Necro tree on Newbee's side, so this could mean harder pushes coming out from this team. Well, it should. Once again, they kind of show up bot. Gonna farm the Radiant side jungle for a little bit, but this really isn't slowing down the side of Vici Gaming, who have already kind of stuck to the left side of the map. Well, Mugi, he's going to rotate back mid. At the very least, you aren't fighting into Omni Slash this time. That is on cooldown, and VG Gaming, do you let this go? Well, it's the same kind of pattern. They found the opposing mid one, or mid T1, so now it's just, yeah, we're happy to let it go. You guys take it. It's all good. Yeah, it's just a even trade so far in terms of map objectives, although they are jumping onto Ori. We'll see. See the Rift come out. Still a lot of damage from AQ with that Deso. Will be enough. And that should set up the tier 2.
Yeah, that should open up the map. You're not going to have that wave clear and control. That was an issue in the last fight. So they should at least open that tier 2 down. But you do see VG clumping up. They look like they were shoving down that mid. They're just going to be somewhere else in the map. They don't want to play 4 versus 5. They are lacking a key piece of control. They're going to have to give this objective away.
Seems really great for Vici anyway. Like, this is the first point of the game where Newbee's actually had a tower advantage. With the Lycan draft, it's just a terrible spot to be in, but they finally got there. They finally got a little bit of an advantage. And with Newbee, now they'll smoke up. They understand they can't slow down. Off we go to the top lane. Nobody's going to really be there. In fact, never mind. It's straight to the Roshan pit.
Yeah, this is really good. They went under smoke, so that Obs ward isn't going to be spotting them. Although, there is movement from VG, they know.
It's just way too slow though, even with the smoke. It's like you're versing a Lycan TA. There's no real time to try and smoke up. You've just got to break the gap and go in. They'll miss the opportunity. So Vici Gaming. Now, probably gonna have to be very, very careful, because when you've got that Aegis on AQ, it becomes a lot harder to defend these towers.
Definitely does. Like, all this time is giving both sides to really start to build up. You take a look at AQ, he's building towards the BKB, although Ori...
Yeah, he gets jumped on. Still quite tanky on the Underlord. Should be able to walk away. But Newbee, they've set up top. Boogie gonna very easily take that tier 1 tower, no issues with that. Do you just go straight for the tier 2 now? They'll TP Yang in on the puck. Rocket Flare, I believe, would have scouted him out, so they know he's in there somewhere. He does actually blink out of there now, so out of position and well Faith, he just jumps in, straight onto Ori. That Underlord, not quite as tanky as I thought. He just melts to AQ's damage. And Newbee now, easily going to take this tier 2 top.
Yeah, they had to expend the egg in the back as well, so Vici is not going to have that tool to prevent any sort of big fight. They still take the objective they were looking for. They're going to be happy with that. Have to go back and de-push that bot lane that Eurus has been shoving in. And speaking of Eurus, you know, he has his Battle Fury. He's had it for a while. He is going for the Manta style, and surprisingly, he's actually going for that Ags really early on. Looks to be his 4th item pickup, so that is going to be a bit earlier than I expected, but he's going to have that added utility of invulnerability and damage, and that could really do the difference here for VG.
Well, feels like he needs to be able to join these team fights now, so I can't really blame him for picking it up. It's just... Newbee are just moving too fast at this point. If you're not too careful, it just seems like they're going to run over you and just go high ground very soon. As you do see AQ now, he's picking up that BKB and it's on the way on the courier. Though bot lane, PYW and the Omni straight onto Faith. They easily burst him down, and even YG getting caught out. Dreamcore going to be there to lock him in. Although apparently he has his own BKB on the Phoenix. And Eurus forced to get out of there. Healing Ward going to be placed in a great impale from PYW. Now the Pit of Malice. They want this team fight. AQ, he's trying to get out of there. He does hold on to the Aegis. They will not expend it. And at what point did this Phoenix pick up a BKB?
Very recently. It does look like he just kind of bought it out, so... Just having that tool is really good for Vici. That means his combination's not going to be broken up by that Nyx as often as you'd expect. He should stay alive long enough to get that Supernova off. And AQ, again, just being caught out by Ori, not going to be enough to really shove him out. But you do see that Newbee have to pick their fights right. Like last time, Vici actually didn't have the egg right until they disengaged. They do have the egg back up, and they are going to smoke to try to find something.
Faith got the hook up. AQ apparently just finding DY by himself, and now the rest of the cavalry are here. Dreamcore, but Faith is in onto Ori once again with the Sunray. It's a lot of damage with the Spike Carapace. Gonna stop that Phoenix, but it doesn't matter. AQ has the damage. And with that double damage rune active, you'd love to just jump straight into that mid tier 2, and that's exactly where Newbee are going. And in fact, you could go high ground here without this Underlord. I think this is the perfect chance.
Oh yeah, nothing to stop them, no wave clear again, no good control to spam out. They're going to be able to just melt these towers, just like that.
First racks of the game, going to go undefended by Vici Gaming, and well, they're going bot, they want to keep going. Newbee, they've been playing very aggressively with these high ground pushes as of late. It's not the Newbee I remember, but they will get a secondary tier 3 tower. They won't risk anything further, as the Underlord is about to respawn.
Yeah, that's fair enough, right? Like, they do manage to take a good set of objectives already. They are still playing around in the area. They have got that Phoenix Egg ready to go. They've got the Roar back up. They can still force something out, and they understand they still have the Aegis. They still have an advantage here. They're just going to keep playing aggressive.
In mid lane, Ori, he seems to be the target they want. Sunray, again from YG, going to be there, but there's no lockdown on Ori. So he will be able to just walk himself out. And the Aegis does finally expire on AQ. And they may just choose to slow down a bit without the Aegis active. Although, you know, saying that, AQ never really needed it, it seemed.
Yeah, he didn't look like he was in any danger of dying. I think for the most part, we haven't seen Eurus jump into these fights again. So they don't really have damage to deal with a lot of the bigger heroes Newbee does have right now. And that is going to cause issues.
Oh, there goes the range racks. They can just slow siege with all these units. The Pit of Malice going to be there, and they will clear them out. So a fair bit of gold going to the side of Vici, but I think Newbee will be happy with that trade, as they did find the range racks anyway.
Yeah, it's not going to be the biggest loss in the world for them. I think right now Newbee is going to be playing the waiting game for a couple of bigger items to come back in. Perhaps looking for Wizard to finish up his item build. I believe he lost his courier with his Solar Crest, so he's not going to have that up and running. They're going to need a way to respond to the disarm on our Underlord as well, Ori finishing up his Heaven's Halberd, and that's going to be a bit rough for AQ to play into.
You've also got that Axe coming up. Eurus. Gonna have it available. Now, I don't think he's really attacking that fast that it's really gonna do that much damage, but I guess we'll find out as they are jumping in. Ori again, going to be the main target though. Yang, he found Faith, but now the Primal Roar Wizard just wanting to go after that Underlord. They won't find him, but DY, he'll go down to AQ. That'll be it. A 1-for-1. They force the buyback from DY, and that's all they seem to want.
Yeah, you're going to be fairly happy with that as Newbee. You did have to expend a Roar, but you got the buyback on the support. That's going to be enough for you to call that a much better trade. You lost Fate, but you know he doesn't have the gold to buy back, so there's no buyback for Newbee to lose out on.
Very fair. Newbee again, just gonna push in that bot lane. Just keep it pushed in, keep the pressure up. Vici just biding their time. In fact, Eurus is queuing up a Divine Rapier now. So, I mean, I would say that's actually a pretty decent item in this situation. Like, you've got the Ags already. You're in pretty dire straits. Like, you may as well.
I don't think they're behind too much in damage, but when you go for a build like this in the Jug, I guess, you know, raw damage is best. So, you're just going to have a lot of value from that Swift Slash, from the Omni Slash. You do have to worry about the moments when you don't have either of those up, and that is something that Newbee can just easily melt the Jug. So Eurus is going to have to watch his timing when he decides to jump in, but I don't think that's a major issue just yet. He hasn't been jumping in for the most part anyway.
No, he definitely hasn't. One place where you may need to jump in though, the Roshan Pit, which is about to respawn. There it is. And you see AQ just perfectly timing it. Of course, they had the Hawk anyway, so they knew it was going to come sooner or later. Well, AQ now has a Butterfly up as well on the T8. And again, We see Vici Gaming, they're kind of around the Roche pit, but it seems they're not even aware. And so Aegis and Cheese gonna go to the way of Newbee, and they'd love to take another team fight right now. Looks like they are already setting up for the next high ground attempt.
Yeah, I mean, you've got those tier 3 items up already in Newbee as well. They've got the Orb and the Mindbreaker sitting on AQ, so it just needs that added minus armor into silence on a hit. And that's just going to be really hard for VG to counteract. It's just going to be tough for them to respond to that, or even protect themselves, because the damage coming out on AQ is just ridiculous.
Yeah, how good is that? That's, what is that, 24? 24 minus armor when she hits you with Node Strike. So,
yeah.
It's pretty big.
Oh.
Hook in, Faith, he found Ori, and they just love going for this man. Ori, the Sun Ray burning him out now, the pipe doing nothing as he does get disrupted. Faith, though, still moving forward, and they do purge him up. There's the Swift Slash. Doesn't really, finishes off Faith at least, though. TA will turn around. Yura's trying to jump on this TA with the Dream Coil. She does have Aegis and AQ. Looks like he will lose it. But while that's all been happening, you look at Mugi. He pushed out the top racks. He's just ratting while all this is going on. Now the Omni comes out onto AQ, but the egg will pop YG. Not really finding anyone with the stun. Primal will hold the jug back, and Mugi, he's still going after the final racks while all this is happening. Poor DY has been trying to slow it down. And PYW will continue chasing. He looks for YG. Won't even bother trying. It looks like he may just settle to try and go for those 30-minute bounty runes instead. But you lost a lot. That was a team fight without the Lycan.
Yeah, I mean,
still end up losing a full set of racks.
Yeah, they managed to take the racks at the very least. They lost a really big target in that TA. I'm not sure if you're going to be too happy about that, although they should be able to find PYW here.
Well, they stop him from taking the 30-minute outpost, and they do also kill him off. So XB denied and Hero dead. I don't know if Vici can defend this final lane of racks.
I think they can. They just got the Ags up on Yang, so they've got a way to really keep that control onto Newbee, and if Newbee don't play their cards right, VG does have the damage as well. Like you see Eurus, he's got the Demon Edge up. He's just a part away from a Divine, so he's going to be dealing an insane amount of damage himself. You've got to worry about that Dream Coil ult upgraded now as well. So there's a lot going on for VG that Newbee really need to watch out for. The disarms, the BKB piercing Dream Coil, all of this is going to really make these fights tougher than they expect.
Sooner he gets that Divine, the better. And he's not too far off. He's got a 1.5k, so almost halfway there. Yura's just gonna farm up the bot lane for a little bit, as it looks like Newbee are gonna stay grouped up and perhaps go for a smoke. They do pop one, but that was underneath an observer ward. So they should know this smoke is coming, because I believe at least one person was in vision. But Ori, he's still far forward. Faith does catch him out with the hook. And Ori, Primal Roar, the puck comes in. Did she use Dream Core yet? It looks like she did, but she didn't really catch much. AQ at least being held back, but they've lost 2, they've lost 3, and they'll go for more. DY, how do you help here? The Omni Slash bouncing through Eurus. He does at least find Wizard, and he'll go for the TP, but he gets bashed. Mugi, he gets the bash through the spin, and they've had enough. They call the GG 31 minutes in, and once again, the team that is apparently the underdog comes out on top. Newbee, they just continue to surprise